and then we'll take, I think we better, to save time, we better go to our poet, Samuel Osaze Oriaki. And if you...
Thank you very much, Prof. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Oh, great.
To bad people.
Mommy, good morning from the city of Lagos. I'm actually so chuffed to, seeing all these beautiful faces here. Thank you, Prof, for everything you've been doing, and Dr. Sam Iwowo, who has been doing excellently well. My name is Samuel Osaze Oriahi. My pseudonym is Samuel Osaze in all my creative outputs. Yeah, I am a researcher. I write poetry, I do documentary films, and my interest is essentially centered around indigenous knowledge. Indigenous knowledge rooted in, Afrocentrism, the Sankofa theory, the need to take a recourse to, African heritage, which is basically the interest of Mommy Ajai-Lycett, in the past 80 years, taking a recourse to our history, past history, our historical past, in order to have an authentic voice. A little wonder, Mommy Ajai-Lycett has become an enigma, an icon, a phenomenal woman that I'm highly proud to hear in the past couple of years. So thank you very much for having me here. I consider it a huge opportunity to be exchanging brilliant ideas with this wonderful set of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we can hear Dr. Oh, he's gonna... I heard his voice briefly. He came in and
he's out again.
Yeah, he's out again.
Yeah, he's trying to log out so he can log back in, because
he came back in and we heard his voice whilst Sam was speaking. But I guess we better crack on and join us.
There's another event at 10, I think.
At 10, ooh, so that leaves us very little time. Okay, so let's dive straight into this.
He's back.
He's back. Very good. Hello. Yeah. Now we can hear you. A quick introduction from you, sir.
Oh, yeah, good. There's nothing to say. I'm just simply Dr. Victor Akai. I have the leg across the two sides. I'm bridging academia with practice, and this is a project sincerely after my heart, and it's something that I'm really proud to be a part of. That's all there is to say for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's something that you'll get a chance to maybe elaborate on some of the ways in which you've been connected to the paper. My plan was that we would have this in 5 broad parts. The first one is gone. I want us to go on to reflect on Taiwo Ajai-Lycett's practice. First of all, we want to discuss the influence of Alarijo theatre on Ajai-Lycett's acting philosophy. Mommy has given us a little bit insight into that. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more? I mean, I guess you introduced in your introduction, you've told us about the spiritual and ancestral dimensions to the your connection with Alarijo. Do you want to speak to us about when you recognize this as a philosophy for acting? Mommy, did you hear that? That was a question for you.
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't quite get that.
Okay, I said, you already asked Sophie, but when did the realization come to you?
When I looked back at the visits to Ogba and to the Egungun festivals and saw how they were performing, I saw their interaction with the audiences. It was an annual thing. I grew up on this. As a matter of, I did my O level on the Egungun Festival in Ogba Village. And although I never thought that I was an actor, when I became an actor, it dawned on me that I had already been soaked in it, had been immersed. and although I learned the other orthodox European Western techniques, I couldn't get away from the indigenous take on entertaining, on talking to people. What I call evangelizing, actually.
Mm.
And I saw that it's the way you reached people, in which you taught them folklores and stuff like that, and and reinvented the future, if you like, by looking at your ancestors, by looking at the past, where you're going, and the reverence that the audience gave. I certainly, as a child, thought it was all real, that and turning Python. So it was imagination again that was awakening me. The power of imagination awakening me. That really fascinated me about the Alarijo theatre.
Thank you, Mommy. And there's a lot more that Mommy could say on that, but I'm mindful of the time that we have. We've spent a lot of time, but I will point you in the direction of the paper which we worked on, which is what brought us all here. In the meantime, let me call on Samantha. You were pivotal to this exercise in terms of writing the paper. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your fascination with Alarijo? Why did we focus on that paper?
Okay, thanks very much, Prof. I think for me it was I was fascinated by how I saw Mommy, how I see Mommy combine Western systems of performance, the Stanislavski, Meisner, Adler, Brechtian, Chekhov, Strasberg, the rest of them. How she would combine it with, I would wonder, I would at times see traces of Igbo performance styles in it. As a way of declaring my positionality, I'm not Yoruba. I'm from Delta State. I'm Igbo speaking part. So some of the nuances of Yoruba Alarijo performances were lost on me, but it was fascinating. I knew there was something there that wasn't any of the Western performance systems I was familiar with. And of course, we know that Mommy is a walking library of philosophies, and so when she would throw some things that would come across as direct translations from Yoruba language, sometimes she would offer an interpretation. At other times, she just proceeds with her talking. I then said, "Mom, could we put together this thing into a theory?" And she didn't see it. She actually said to me that it was already a praxis, that it wasn't something she was something she had been working with from this long line of study, from the West and her background in Yoruba theater. And so for her it was more of praxis. Practice is where the philosophy has voice, but then we came to the discussion that we needed to put it on paper, and here you go, there it is.
Thank you so much. And I like the fact that you declared your bias right up front in saying, I'm not Yoruba, but I recognize some Igbo. Victor, you also were part of this paper. Do you want to tell us about your encounters with Alarijo or with similar tropes? I'm coming back to you, Samuel, with the same question. Do you want to tell us briefly about your encounters with Alarijo or similar tropes that you're familiar with?
Okay, I think let me even talk about that before the details investigation. I've always argued that when Niger always existed and Mungo Park never discovered it. It was always there.
Your voice is a bit woolly. Yeah.
It's a bit woolly?
Yeah. Okay, now it's better.
Okay, so it means I'll have to move forward or just put the check on my face.
Oh no,
Okay.
it's maybe are you on Wi-Fi or something?
Yeah, that's not the reason. I think I was using a microphone before, but I decided to use one on the Mac, and it's not sounding better. But let's see. But is it sounding better now, or is it still willing? I can always come.
I don't. Let's
It's a
just
lot,
carry
it's a
on.
lot
We
better.
spend too much time on technical things. Let's carry on. We'll manage.
Okay, so I've always argued that River Niger always existed. There was nothing Mongo Park came to discover, and which was and again, I in my practice in Nollywood, I've always been against the fact that we have our intellectuals here practicing theater, film, and the rest in academia, and then excuse my mentioning names here. It takes a Jonathan Haynes to come and begin to tell us what the practice of Nollywood is, and I've always been against that. And so when this opportunity came, I was quite excited and I jumped into it because I know that we've always had our own ways of doing things. People will come and begin to talk about. You might talk about different forms of acting, and all that. But we are who we are as a people. We are expressive. That's who we are. As we say, we had in the discussion a few days ago, I was saying that when two Yoruba people meet on the streets, excuse me, the first thing you hear, I mean, for the foreigner, it's strange. From a distance, they even start abusing their friend's mother and father. It's fun. It's for us. It's not. It will be strange to them the way they come and they hug themselves. That's who we are, And you want to change that? That when you see us in our films, that's why Nollywood trumps Hollywood in our movies. Let me put it that way, because we can relate to it. Okay, so it strikes a responsive chord in us, and that's why we can relate to it. And so when this opportunity came, I was quite excited because it was an opportunity for us to be able to, if you like, let me use the least term, codify. It may not mean anything here, but just for lack of words, the practice and it's still what we're doing in a way that can be replicated and that is teachable, and nobody exemplifies it better than Mommy Taiwo Ajai-Lycett. She has done it the Western way. She was trained there. She was trained even from home here, in the Alarinjo way. And I do recall what's his name now? The late Hubert Ogunde.
Ogunde.
Yes. When I've been fascinated by, that particular practice and the way he embodies the rituals, the music, the dance, and all in his practice, and it was something that we needed to put down, so that tomorrow, when none of us is here, we won't be talking about the Chekhov, we'll be talking about the Stanislavskis, we should be talking about the Taiwo Ajai-Lycett, we should be talking about how our own practice is. And so that, in fact, inspired, motivated it, and for me it was quite exciting, and it was something that I was happy to jump on.
Okay, thank you so much. And I wanted you to touch a little bit on your recognition of similar practices, because you said we're all the same. I mean, okay.
I grew up in the north, okay, and in the north there is one of those, if you like, practices that really fascinated me. It's called the Bori dance. I mean, the Bori dance, when you see the Hausa man when it comes to the Bori dance, there is spirituality in it. There is music. There is the entire process itself. I mean, when you want true entertainment in the north, it's not drama and all that. It's the Bori dance. That is the height of it. Okay, so there's ritual, there's spirituality, there's healing, there's drama in it. So when I look at Alarinjo, I can draw a parallel, a similarity rather, between both practices. And I don't know how much that has been documented. Honestly, when I see Alarinjo and I see the practice here in the south, I'm reminded about where I grew up in the north. and about the practice of Bori. These are our indigenous practices that we need to begin to tell the world about.
Okay, thank you so much. Samuel, um, are you there, Samuel? Okay. Grandma Taiwo Ajai-Lycett has made a very fascinating remark about the theatre flowing through the blood of any Yoruba child. Maybe a child who grew up in Yoruba land, but from what we see there also, there's evidence of things happening. Samantha talked about the Igbo culture and in Delta State, and she's also talked and Victor's also talked about what happens in the north. Do you have experiences of your encounters with Alarijo and maybe any other ones? Are you there, Samuel? I can't see you.
I see his picture.
I see his picture, but I can't see him.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I want to see
okay.
your voice.
Can you hear my voice?
We can hear your voice.
Can you hear my voice?
If we can hear your voice, unless it's technical. Yeah, we can see you now. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
Did you get the question?
I was not at all. Not at all. The internet was buffering. I was apprehensive at some point.
Oh,
please
okay.
repeat the question.
All right. So if you don't mind, switch off the video so that we can save the bandwidth, and maybe just the question we asked is your encounters with Alarijo or any similar cultures, and maybe tell us a little bit about your work, because we're talking about indigenous knowledge here.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Alarijo, which simply means itinerant theater troupe, is I find the concept of Alarijo quite interesting, and it resonates very well with the practice of my people. I am Esa and people, and I find Alarijo quite synonymous with the Igbo dance of the Esan people, which is also peripatetic, if you like, moving from one place to the other. And you see, yes, I like to reiterate the fact that regardless of our huge diversity, we have a lot of commonalities. I mean, I'm talking about the Nigerian situation. The Igbobonarimi traditional dance is the same thing as Alarijo, and the name Igbobonarimi is right there embedded in the origin of the Esan people. Esan is the word. I mean, Esan means the agile people, and you see the height of agility, a kinetic, energetic display in Igbobonarimi traditional dance. In my writings, like circa 2014, I did an extensive research on, trying to prove a point as against the belief of a European, Ruth Finnegan, who holds the belief that African theater, traditional theater, is quasi drama. My argument was that, hey, young lady, the African traditional drama should not be subjected to the perimeters or parameters of Eurocentrism, so to speak. The Igbobonarimi dance drama is a complete drama, exuding all the modern elements of drama, talking about stage, costume, language and all that. And they use this method to enlighten, educate, just the same functions or functionalities of the modern drama. So yeah, I hope I was able to.
Yeah, brilliant. What?
Prof, just a minute. Before you leave, I didn't want to speak about. I had an encounter, the New Young Festival in Esan Land, which has never left my mind. I don't know if it has anything to do with the one you talked about, because I didn't do any extensive research on it or any at all. But it had a fascination that has never left me. Is it related to what you're talking about? Is it something to picture as well? I saw things that I've never forgotten in my life. When I encountered African festival. In Ibori, I mean Ebore.
Okay, it's not a new, not a, it's not it could be integrated in the programs of events celebrating a festival which but this Igbo PLENARY, we call it the fact that Esan is so we have a lot of varieties of language. In my own part of Esan Uhodwa, where I hail from, it's called Ihianime, which basically denotes the same thing: clapping for the spirit or clapping for the dead. Yeah, so, it entails swelling in the air. It's quite unique.
I think the point has been made. I'm mindful of the time, and we've spent a lot of time before. Okay, Sam wants to say something. Do we have have the organizers given us more time?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So okay, so how much time do you have now?
10 minutes, I think. We got 10 minutes.
Just stretch it to 15. Okay, let's keep going then. I think the summary of what we're saying here is that we have indigenous practice, we have indigenous knowledge that's worth something. I think this is what we are, and unless we document it, it may well be that we would not be liberated. It will not be free for us to use. We will continue to be referred to as quasi-drama, when indeed we are more dramatic. We are drama itself. Okay, so I think there's a question here that I got. Again, I'm skipping on from I wanted us to view the distinct methodology that we've looked at. I'll address that in my closing, but let's go on to reflect on the merits of collaboration, to examine the collaboration between practitioners and scholars in shaping this framework. What's the framework that we have in place that can work? We've done something now. What's a framework how do we develop that framework? What can we do? That's a question to you, Sam.
Okay, thanks very much, Prof. I think it starts with a decolonial awareness. Dr. Okai and Samuel have been speaking about, and quite rightly so, what theorists would call the inferiorization of knowledge, from the global south. So it's been a trajectory of that deprioritization of knowledge as it comes from the global south by the global north. Whether we call it ethnocentrism or we call it the reduction to the anecdotal, of our way of knowing. The impacts are very injurious. So it starts with us being aware that that is going on, and that knowledge is politics. So when we can learn that knowledge is politics, and that a process of inferiorization came with colonialism, and that what we have, and that knowledge is contextual to the site in which it operates, then we can begin to ask ourselves why we prioritize Stanislavski over Taiwo Ajai-Lycett's system of performance. That's the rigor of theorization, the rigor of developing a model, and then the discipline of bringing it into pedagogy. So it starts with it's. I think that those are the processes of the frameworks which we must take, and it must also come with an awareness that as post-colonial agents, by that I mean those of us who exist in a post. One of the starting points is to ask, what is your name? And my name is Samantha. So you see, that's that kind of scales through, and when we also and then when we also think that for several of us the aspiration is a Western education, then the question is, then you understand that we are products of we are products of colonialism to a large extent. So it is that awareness that then pushes us to unlearn what we have been taught. It is that awareness that helps us realize that what we have been taught to a large extent is indoctrination. That knowledge exists with the understanding that it is contextually created. So I'll stop there for now.
Thank you. Mommy, I'm going to draw you in so we hear you. tell us a bit of what you think. How should we study culture and history in a medium and language that's not practiced without losing meaning? How do we study that without losing meaning? Did you get that question, Mommy?
Yes, I got it, but I thought it was essentially an academic problem, and this is what our paper is all about. So to reorientate ourselves, that you really will have to start intellectualizing this. As you say, knowledge is about politics as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is where we need the framework from the academics. And I would also say that in order to transfer to performance, that the responsibility of the Nigerian actor is have a clear understanding of what he or she wants to accomplish, what we as a society want to accomplish. The others have used their culture to dominate us, to virtually lobotomize us. And that we have to accept. How do we get our actors to see that it's not just show business, it's not just, and it's not really even entirely about business. It's about culture. It's about developing culture. And
exactly. It's about developing.
It's saying that the time is now to give more time for to be more pro-indigenous knowledge thinking. It's what our paper is saying. And I would like to say to performers that their job is more than just chugging along. They have to move us forward with performance. This is why I say performing is a kind of evangelizing, a missionary job, where the academics can theorize on this and bring the framework. We really have to learn this and assimilate it into our thinking, into the practical way of acting, of thinking, of being aware. It's a state. I said it's a state of mind that we have to have our people acquire. And the time is now to give, thoughts and styles and practices and systems more attention. We can't be just taking what other people are giving us. Actually, they're not giving us very much. They're appropriate for civilization. And then, and this is the time I think that we have to reassert, to say for our paper. But I think that we fired the starting shot. So this can unify our country, our nation,
exactly,
and our race. That's the passion I have in this.
Thank you so much, Ma. I think someone, whilst you were speaking, Stanley Ohikware,
I know him, yeah,
has said that we're still being colonized. I would like a similar session. Oh dear, that one's gone. I need to find that chat. Stanley, do you want to post that again? I'm trying for me to save time. He would like a similar session. I didn't see where that went. And okay, I think that's what the chat.
No, I was just saying, if I could just speak in him for
yes,
me.
go ahead.
I was saying, like, we've talked about the whole Western influence and everything, but one of the sad things I see is that even within Nigeria, apart from what the West has done, I was doing some research some years back, and I realized that the culture in northern Nigeria was even more robust than what we see in the South today. They had a lot of traditions, festivals and all of that have now been just submerged under the veil of a religious dominance, and that those things are not being expressed anymore. I was just wondering if we have a session like this where we look at whether it's possible to unearth some of those cultures from the past so that we can even see the vibrance that once existed in the North before everything was subdued. Yeah.
Oh, wow, fantastic. So we're decolonizing that we are talking about then begins from home, charity starting from home, where we're able to look within our own cultures. And I think there's something about this as well. I'm not sure how much time we have. Sam, you had your hand up, did you?
Yes, please. I wanted to, following on from what Mommy said, and of course what Stanley has said. Stanley, thanks very much for your intervention. I want to add that, and for us academics, when we collaborate with practitioners, we must go in with epistemic humility. You know, because that is part of the reason why, to my mind, and what data shows us, there is this resistance to collaborations between what Nigeria would typically say town and gown. You know, there's been the history of academics coming to lord it over the practitioners as though the practitioners are not the site of the knowledge construction. So what we do as academics is that we go into the space of the site of practice. We harness the
knowledge.
And depending on our ethics, we divorce it, we defamiliarize it from that site with the jargon of academia and call it some title, some theory that is disconnected from the site of its origination. So in the collaboration, I think that we should also include in the conversation how we approach with the ethics of epistemic humility and epistemic violence, because when we do that, what we are doing is a kind of violent taking
it by force, the violent taking it by force. So in other words, sorry, Victor, I want you to come in, but your microphone is muted again.
My microphone?
Oh yeah, it's okay. So yeah, you were saying something. Please come in.
Yeah, okay. So let me just add violation to violence.
Okay.
So I think that we just hearing from Mom, Sammy, and Stanley, I just want to add that if you look at our indigenous practices, or if you like, our theater and rituals and all that, what academics need to do really is use that as a source, like what we have done right now, to create our own institutional system. And why do I say so? We have our local, the semiotics of our, how do I put it now, of our, let me use the word interaction, not just practice. Where in Yoruba land, you talk about cutting eye. Mom, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. The woman does not understand. You can sit down with the midst of white people and you would have communicated so effectively, so them, they wouldn't even know what is going on. It is from home, that's who we are. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One word, okay, go ahead, do it. To the woman, do it is do it. But to your mom, when your mom says, okay, go ahead, do it. You want to go, Abby? Go. That's how we communicate. You understand? These are things we need to teach the rest of the world. You understand? Not an academic coming because he has learned something so spectacular in his way. And unless we can put this out there and say this is who we are, okay? We will allow, and this is where the issue of colonialism comes in. You understand? In this era that we're in, we should be able to now take ownership and then give back, and then document these things in a way that they are accepted practices. Allow me again to draw similarities with what's happening, or parallel to what's happening in our traditional medicine. The white man will come here, take it, they will take it, go back there, refine it, and bring it back to us. Okay? What treats African and tropical diseases is in the tropics. It's not over there. Okay? We have rejected all that is ours. It's only now that we are beginning to. The other day, sorry, I don't say this.
I'm going to have to stop you very quickly. So, if you context, each culture is developed as comfortable within the environment that we're in. I think that's the point you're making. And you're also saying that we must therefore be careful that we do not, as academics, become the colonialist. That there are several levels, as it were, of colonization, and there's several implements or several channels through which colonization works, and the academics have been, because of the way education has been westernized, the academics have been in the forefront of that. And so we need to be careful, we need to be intentional, and we need to be humble to recognize that there are things we don't know. I think we're taking us to the oral culture. One of the things that I looked at is the challenges that we have in terms of the creative practice and knowledge production. It seems to me like for us to get to that decolonizing agenda, there are few pitfalls that we might have to deal with. There are few challenges. So maybe, Sam, I see your hand up. Is that to tell me to wrap up?
No, I wish not, but we are over time. But
well, I know we are. That's why I'm trying not to race. I'm trying to glide gracefully like a duck. Okay. So, but is the hand down now? You don't. It's
yes,
not
please.
like. Okay. So I'm asking us to think about what are those pitfalls that we have in this attempt to go from to work within that creative space. Sorry, before we go on, I need to say that Mommy has transited several spaces. It's about street. Alanijo is street theater. So we've gone from the street to the stage to the screen, both the silver screen and the small screen. And we're still here now. She's still on the screen in a personal device, whether it's your phone or your laptop. So it's important for us to see that there's still many more mummies around. We essentially speak sign language in our daily lives. Stanley, you are waxing lyrical this morning. Thank you. Okay, I want us to think about it. What are some of the challenges that we have in terms of that transition that when we reflect on our African creative practices and knowledge production and the decolonizing agenda? What are some of the pitfalls that we have had to deal with? And let's think about the debates that we may have to push us along the right path, the path that we desire to be on. Who should I go to first? Is there any burning?
I was going to say the language we employ itself is a handicap. There is a tendency for people to think that if you speak fluent language, then you must be intelligent, intelligent than the natives. Okay. That is a problem. That's a problem for us. And our needs to be so Eurocentric, which is all sophisticated. If we have the meaning of sophistication, it's not something we're terribly proud of. And all that. Now, that really is one of our major constraints. That we think, this to appear to be so polished.
I wonder, Mommy, is that coming from experience? Could it be that you've been successful in transiting, in bringing this about because you have gained the respect because of your eloquence and your sophistication? That's a food for thought. Is it possible that, therefore, for us to be able to question, then we need also to assert ourselves, evolve into a place, ascend into the space of recognition and respect, to be able to get them to look at what we have to offer? It's a question that maybe we might want to bear in mind for future. Samuel, you had your hand up. Someone
yes,
has
yes, Prof. Thank you very much. I was just going to chip in the need for, in our quest to decolonize our minds, there is every need to be very, very mindful or be educated about the differences between modernization and westernization. Amongst Africans, I know people like Professor Achebe, he said specifically that the modern African, is a synthesis of two cultures, while we are determined to embrace modernization, which is human, it's human, it's part of the evolution, human evolution. But westernization is peculiar to the West. So yes, while we're trying to decolonize and to reverse the epistemic violence perpetrated by colonialism, we should bear this at the back of our minds that as we make that leap, as we forge ahead to better our laws, we should be able to know that today, as the world continues to evolve, a modern African goes back, take a recourse to our historical past, and then combining it with modernity, the new humans, in order to have an authentic voice. Thank you very much.
Okay, Victor, thank you for that submission. Thank you, Victor.
Yeah, there's something I needed to chip in before I forget. I read this yesterday or so. How many of you here know Kabilane, the biggest TikToker in the world? The guy who just expresses with his hands. I don't know, you can't see me.
Oh yeah.
You know the.
I think I know of that phenomenon. The one who
just does his hands. That's all.
The one who does what?
He just uses sign language. Well, he just gestures.
Oh yes,
he communicates with gestures.
Yes.
Now, the point I want to make here is that in what I read yesterday, they were comparing him with Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. Because he doesn't talk. All he did during COVID. This expression is something from his past, from his culture. They all go, oh, I don't know. Just like, you know how we express ourselves. Now, he was just himself. With those expressions, it caught on. I don't want to begin to, I think the issue of Afrobeat has been overbeaten. That's why I don't want to bring it. I'm bringing this example because it just shows that if we truly are ourselves, if we communicate in our way, it can be sold to the world and the whole world will buy it. Otherwise, to rise to become within 16, the #1 TikToker globally, with almost 200 million followers, it just tells you that there is something about who we are and what we have, and that if we communicate, the rest of the world, if we use it, the rest of the world will understand it. We don't have to borrow from them. We can give to them, which is basically what localization is about. Okay? Be local, but be global in your outlook. Okay? Most of the movies and Netflix will tell you, and what you call it now, DSTV here, the movies that travel farthest are the ones that are hyper local. Okay? Which means tell your indigenous story with universal, and you will communicate more effectively when you try to be.
Thank you so much. I think what you're saying is technology, in a sense, has helped us to circumvent those editorial controls that would determine the places where the decisions are made to shut out the values and are imposed on those who are coming from the outside. So we need to do what we do and do it well and be ourselves and reach the world. But again, we need to understand how to reach the world. I'm coming to you, Samantha, but I just want to read very quickly. Stanley has said again, in a world where most countries now lack culture, we still have an advantage if we can harvest our youthful generation that make up the majority of our population. Aurioba, there's someone on Aurioba.
My name is Auri Obaigbo.
Oh,
And
sorry. All I see here is Aurioba. Aurioba, did you want to make an intervention?
yes, I just wanted to take note of the fact that the people who need decolonization is ourselves. We are the ones who are being colonized. We
Okay.
keep making a backward reference to the people who came to colonize us, but we are the colonized. We are the ones who need to free ourselves
Good
from
point.
the condition where we are. So we should focus on that. And one
Imagine.
challenge I can see already is the fact that we draw parallels between things that are actually not parallel at all. Like my brother from Ohodua said, the Taiwo-Lycett's theory of those who perform as they walk are similar to Igbabenelimi. No, Igbabenelimi is more like Egungun than I don't know. We need to be able to clarify. We can't just put things together because we want to be Africans. We are actually very, very unique in our different little spaces.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'm going to have to interject there and say, yes, you're one. I hear you in terms of the statement that we need to decolonize our minds, and that is true. So yes, our observations are for ourselves, and it's for but recognizing what has been done to us, so that then we know what to target when we are responding. However, the example that you've given, you forget that the Alanrijo came also from the Egungun. If you were here at the start, Mommy Taiwo Ajai-Lycett mentioned the fact that the Egungun cult is where her grandfather began his performance. And I also will recommend to you to read the paper so that you will see how indeed that link with the Egungun and the disciplines that came from that, the mode of communication is where we are building on from to take that to the performance in general. So I think in university it's called performing arts, and there are different segments to performing arts, dancing, drama, and so many other dimensions to it, which make up the theater. And yes, indeed, I think it will also be good for us as part of decolonizing ourselves to see the similarities. Rather than putting ourselves in silos, it would be good for us to see the similarities. Ooh,
I think it's the noise is coming from the gentleman, Auri Obai.
Yes. Obai. I couldn't see the name. Obai is all that was captured here. Obaibo. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, can I add something?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Just to say that we got 2 more minutes from Mr. Jaman here, and to add that I possibly Mr. Auri might not have joined us at the start because we had talked about decolonization being something that we do. That's the unlearning we all spoke about. Yeah, we all have to unlearn. And also, in addition to that, I echo what you say about the need to see parallels, amongst cultures. And this process of decolonization comes with us. That's the rigor of unpacking the culture, into a theory. It's not. Yes. It goes beyond it goes beyond insisting that it's a theory when it's not a theory. That's not the point. It's looking at how can this be unpacked into a philosophy or an episteme, epistemological way of teaching that can then go into the academy, and also to add, also to extend what Dr. Okai says about selling our culture. I think we also want to be careful in that regard about selling, because once that happens, we lose ownership, because he who holds your culture owns your culture. And we see that with several things that have been patented across Africa, wherein Africans no longer have the rights to produce them at industrial scale. And also finally to add, as my closing remark, Prof, if that's allowed.
Please, closing remark.
Yeah,
okay.
just to say that, just to add that Africans have always been speaking. The global South have always been speaking. We have always been teaching, but the infrastructure of listening has been so colonial, and so it refuses to listen.
I'll go on to, now that we're having the parting shots, I'll go on to Samuel, then to Victor, and I'll give Mommy the last word, other than mine, as chair. Okay, Samuel.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Prof, I actually, value your intervention in trying to shed more light on the evolution of Igbabonari. I wasn't just trying to draw that parallel line between Igbabonari and the Alarinjo. They strikingly have the same kind of evolution, from the Egungun in the case of Alarinjo. The Igbabonari dance, acrobatic dance drama of the Esan people also evolved from, the Arimi, the ancestral spirits who were basically put in place for, communal cleansing and other forms of spirituality. So Igbabonari, clapping for the spirits, is an evolved, part and parcel of that that motherboard, so to speak. So, which is the same, in exactitude with Alarinju. That's what basically I just wanted to add.
Thank you.
Prof, sorry, we hear that we must shut down now.
We must shut down.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I want to thank you very much. Mommy, do you want, Victor, do you want to just say thank you and bye-bye, and then we go to Mommy? Oh, you're muted.
We hear that we must shut down now.
Okay, so we must shut down now.
Very much. It's been an exhilarating time.
Thank you so much. There's never enough time when we're enjoying ourselves. And thank you to all who have been here. I wish we had time to involve more of those who are on the panel. I pray the organizers are able to help us harvest the comments and we can take that away. But if anything we've said is worth anything to think about, let's think of how we can look at ourselves, the indigenous cultures that we have, and see how we can use that to bring us together, we are more similar than we know. And so when we come together, it might actually help us to resolve some of the problems that we have as individuals, between the problems that we have, inter-ethnic problems that we have as a nation, and even within the global space, the challenges that the nation has. So thank you for thinking about this. We hope that the next generation will be able to learn, because we have started to document some of those things that were hidden away in the oral culture. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for your intellect that you have shared with us today. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Bye.
Hello? Sound. Hello?
Thank you, everybody.
Hello?
Thank you.
Hello?
Oh, the bastards to shut.
Hello? Thank you very much for the last panel. We are sorry that we had to shut down. In fact, because of Mommy, Taiwo Ajai-Lycett, we extended by 15 minutes extra. We're really very sorry because the other session is here and they have to start immediately. Otherwise, we lose the whole of the morning. Thank you so much. Thank you, the panelists, the chairperson, Mama, and everybody. Good morning, everyone. We have to start the next panel. We should have started since 11. Thank you and welcome to another day of iREP. I can't even remember what day it is now, but today is Friday. Barka de Salah. No, Eid Mubarak. Ajai-Lycett. As one with Muslim name, is it Eid Mubarak? Eid Mubarak, okay. He has Muslim name, but he's a Christian. But thank you very much, everyone. So the next panel is going to be, the main presentation is virtual. Wale, if you are set. Wale, please. It's virtual, but then the interlocutor is the DG of Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board, Dr. Shaibu Hussaini, who himself is a teacher of film, is of media communication. He came all the way from Abuja. So he's going to be the interlocutor after we've seen the presentation. Thank you very much, everyone who is there. Others are outside, they will be joining us. Some people are watching film too. So please let's just pay attention to what is being played on the screen. While if you are set, can you play? The presentation is by Dr. Ajai-Lycett, who is someone very versed in what you can call futurism. He's an AI strategist. He's someone who is into the AI space a lot. And I don't even know how he even does it. He's a pastor too. So he's going to take us into the future of Nollywood. Futurism and Nollywood. What does the next 10 years mean for Nollywood? And I hope you can pay attention to that. We welcome our guests online. They can join us in this particular presentation too. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Special recognition to the organizers of the iREP, and congratulations on the 15th anniversary edition. My name is David Ajai-Lycett. Good morning, everyone.
Hello, can we settle down, please? Because we are already some 5 minutes late into the next session. Can we settle down, those near the door, please? Let's just settle down, please. We have to go on. We're losing time. Can we settle down? Can we settle down, please? We need to start this session. Hello. Welcome once again to the next session, next 10 years in terms of distribution. The presentation will be done by video, and then the interlocutor is Dr. Shaibu Seni, DG of National Film and Video Censors Board. Dr. Adeoye Boduni too is online. He will be able to take questions from us later.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for and congratulations on the 15th anniversary edition. My name is David Adeoye Boduni. Protocols here observed. Special recognition to the entire coordinating team, the leadership, and everyone. I would like to also appreciate mentor of many, including myself, the sage and movie maker Femi Odubemi, who has been instrumental to a lot of some of my inspiration and conversations within the movie industry in Nigeria. And I have been following quietly by the side, and I really apologize. I'm not able to be in town for this particular episode, painfully so, but nevertheless, this is just a very short foresighting exercise into the future, and I hope to do this in a very short time because I want to leave room for conversations, and I would also like to say that the conversations that will arise from this is far more important for me than anything else. The takeaways, the lessons that we take away from this iREP episode, I believe will shape the future of Nigerian films in the next 10 years. And my assignment is to create the sparks and the thoughts that are necessary to help us as a continent to dominate and take advantage of the coming tides. The tides are coming, and my job is to help us to see the direction of the flow of the tide. Special recognition to Dr. Shaibu Seni, who is the DG Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board. I celebrate you, sir, and I do not take for granted your good work. Professor Awam and all the other team members, I totally celebrate you, and I from here salute, and I say forgive me that I cannot be in town physically. Special thanks to our sponsors and everyone who is working to ensure that Nollywood gets to the best of our opportunities and possibilities. Thank you for having me. All right, on this anniversary of the 15th anniversary of the iREP, I would like to start by saying, while we slept, the future has happened already. This sleep is not the physical sleep. Everybody, please, it's important for you to sleep. And if you're a movie producer, before you become the movie, make sure that you have enough sleep. But it's not easy to be to sleep if you're a movie producer. Literally, you're always, your mind, when you're sleeping, your mind is working. And special thanks to the great work that all of you movie producers are doing in the ecosystem. Some interesting statistics would prove to us that the question is not if Nollywood will be disrupted. The question is who will lead the disruption or be led by it. Already 8,752 AI-generated films from 139 countries were submitted in 2025. Think about that number, 8,752. And we're just at the beginning of the curve in terms of AI-generated films. There are 41,000 film and TV jobs lost in Los Angeles in the last 3 years. Please don't let's play the ostrich. There will be job losses in our clients too, because the power, the sheer possibilities that AI is bringing to the table is humongous. We are seeing a 90% cost reduction in China's AI micro drama pipelines. They are producing drama, and the cost of production is reducing by 90%. And if you know how entrepreneurship works, businessmen and even producers who are businessmen and movie makers will always want to favor good, solid production costs, and you want to always reduce. And 3 to 4 times AI workflow efficiency gain versus the traditional production style. There is efficiency when you use AI, multiplied by 3, multiplied by 4 in some climes. This is a global trend, and we cannot play ostrich. Produce for far more lower or cheaper, and market far easier and more expensive is the business model that the future will ride on. And these are what producers always do anyway. We always want to produce cheaper and then gain as much or rental on that singular production. And Africa has come to the point where we will have no choice except to embrace the truth of what AI has brought to us. Where does Nollywood stand right now? For the first time in history, there are some things that happened in Nollywood that is a good thing, and I think we should clap for ourselves at this junction. For example, Nollywood beat, from the data we have, if you look at Film 1, West Africa Box Office Yearbook 2025, Business Day, Naira Metrics, and some other reports that are produced, it will shock you that 15.6 billion 2025 box office revenue happened in West Africa. That's a 34.7 year-on-year increase. 49.4% Nollywood market share versus Hollywood that stood at 48.8 in terms of gaining market share within our own ecosystems. And behind the scenes, we had 1.77 billion single film that grossed that amount in 2025 behind the scenes, and 1 billion in 19 days. That same film, 1 billion in 19 days. That is huge in Naira. That is huge. That is huge, and I think is worth celebrating. The signal is here. Yes, you can be rich because some people have been rich. And if you think about the box office growth, I hope that you can see my screen. Let me move this up a little bit. You can see 2023, in 2024 was 12 billion, and then in 2025, 16 billion. 2026, this first half is projected to close at about 20 billion from a potential perspective. There are key signals, new things are happening within the industry. 369 screens were counted in 122 cinemas in 2025, and it's projected that by the end of 2025 there will be 390, looking at the investment, the growth trajectory, and all of that. The other thing is that the average ticket price, this is scoreboard data from the analytics that we have, and I trade in data, forgive me. The average ticket price was 5,959 in 2025, and it was 2,824 in 2023. So we are seeing some very good growth within the industry, and there's opportunity for movie makers who can create a difference. 20 billion box office projected for 2026. That's what the box office is looking like. 2026 we close with. I think it's going to be higher than that. That's my opinion. We're going to have 2.79 cinema admissions with rising affluent youth base. This is the target. This is what it's looking like by the end of 2026. There'll be streaming and theater together, and that will now create virtuous revenue cycle that's now proven. Already we are seeing streaming and theater coexisting. Although with theater there are some concerns, and I think it's time for the streaming platforms and theater to find the means of delivering value so that the theaters and the physical cinema houses, in terms of the traditional theater environment, do not lose revenue in the coming future. I'm excited at what the future holds for us within the ecosystem. All right, there are 5 tectonic forces. If you want to understand the future of Nollywood in the coming days, like I said, I want to make this very short because I want conversations to go in and I want us to create value for ourselves. There are 5 tectonic forces reshaping Nollywood. They are not trends. They are the tectonic forces that are already moving, and they're already dovetailing and charting the direction in which the industry will go. Number one, generative AI. Sora 2, those are the names. View 3.1 in 3.0 now produce cinematic shots directly. AI workflows are 3 to 4 times faster. VFX costs is collapsing right now, and all those things are here. It's not just coming, it's collapsed. Number two, there'll be platform wars, heavy platform battles. In the midst of that, Nigeria and Africa still does not have a pan-African or a pan-Nigeria platform, or pan-West African or pan-East African platform. And that's a national sovereignty issue, because whoever owns the platform owns the market. Whoever owns the platform owns the market. They have Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus. They are fighting for Nollywood exclusive. The streamer with the best Nollywood lineup wins the Nigerian retention. That's it. But in the midst of the battle, where I will win? And I've always said this, until we own the platform and it's running. Thank God for NTA and the likes of NTA. But when are we going to scale the energy beyond NTA to stronger places? Another one is audience sovereignty. That's what I was saying. Nigerians choose local stores over Hollywood for the first time. People believe in our local tastes. Culture is currency. Authenticity always beats spectacle. What are we going to do? How are we going to continue to leave money on the table? I want to see, I live in diaspora. I want to see Nigerian drama. I want to see African drama. The moment in the soul of an African, the folklore stories that shaped the ethno-psycho mental space of the African. It's a craving, just the way you crave very good food when you're abroad. It's the same way your entertainment is part of your entity, it's part of your being. Indians have exported theirs, and this is the interesting part. Despite their foreign culture, they are doing well in other areas. It will seem as if that the better they exported their culture into the economies where they settled down, the more respect they got. And this cannot be emphasized less. We need to gain respect even in the diaspora. Africa and Nigeria cannot continue to be second fiddle, because the truth is the capacities in a story are huge. Micro studios are exploding, and because AI is now enabling solo creators and small teams to produce feature quality films, the Hollywood budget mode is dissolving fast. That bloated budget thing all over the world, because micro studios, we are getting to the era of all movies, editing, everything done with the phone, and distribution is being disrupted. All the way from the theater, streaming, licensing pipeline is proving to become powerful. Cinemas aren't dead, they are just launching parts and they are changing direction. I'm excited at what the future holds, but we must position. These are the 5 forces that's running what's happening in Africa. You see, today, AI is not a tool, it's a new cast member, and it works for free. AI is not a tool, it's a member of your team, and it works for free. You install it, at times you pay license, but its cost is far cheaper than the cost of a crew member. That has several implications for the crew member, for the production team, for the businessmen, for the streaming platforms, who can produce and still tell the stories despite downtime in the economy, so that it can sell higher. We own the day. What AI can do today right now, it can generate photorealistic cinematic scene like Sora 2 Pro and View 3.1. It can animate characters with zero VFX teams like Kling 3.0 directable AI, dub films into 20 plus languages in 60% less time like Neural Garage will do. Now, these are opportunities for growth and scale that AI is already doing today, and we're just at the beginning of the journey. Script to budget modeling in hours, not weeks. From the script to budget modeling quickly in hours, not weeks anymore. Yeah, AI enhanced workflows, 3 to 10 times efficiency versus traditional CGs, native audio sync, dialogue, ambient sound, fully in one pass. Everything at go. Audio sync, done. Everything working together. AI metadata tagging generates distribution intelligence pre-launch. if you tag very well, you can even get what's happening at distribution, depending on how you do pre-pro. And how you eventually decide to do production, and by the time you get to market, it will tell you and be giving you intelligence about how audiences are reacting to scene by scene, so you know what works in the market. Nollywood has a very big AI opportunity, and this is where the rubber meets the road. Hollywood is cautious. Only 3% of production budgets are available for AI. That's what the law said in 2025. China's microdrama AI pipeline costs 90%, and it cuts cost by 90% and timelines by 70%. At least 65 AI native film studios launched globally in 2022. 65 AI native film studios launched globally in 2022, from 2022 up till now. The AI video market hit $946 million. In 2026, it will eat 946. This projection of data, it will eat $946 million at the end of 2026 from 717 in the previous year. We're already at 946, and they're saying that I'm worried about numbers, and I say as it is. Let's report that this is the end. Although McKinsey said this in January or first quarter, and if you know how things grow, it won't grow the way it was going before. It always tips up. We're going to see bigger than these numbers by 2026. Where will Nollywood be? We need to begin to reshape and rearrange ourselves. The wave is coming. Can we begin to AIify ourselves in a very deep way and meaningful way? Line by line, script by script, producer by producer, person by person. We are a very agile industry, and that's our advantage. We don't have legacy big systems. The fact that we don't have too much big investments like in Hollywood. We don't have big studios. It's enough that it was a liability in yesteryears, but where we are going now is good, because the next 1 billion Hollywood film can be made for 50 million with AI. QED. That is the story. The bigger we quickly move up, the better. That's why I'm creating the narrative framework to help us. By the way, there's a narrative workbook, and I've created a workbook, and I've given us 3 things in the workbook, and it's available also for us to use. It's called the narrative, and I developed this specifically for iREP. It is iREP branded for iREP, and for everybody who is here, to begin to help us to think through adopting AI for the next decade. This is strategic futurism operating system for Nollywood's next decade. The first one is native intelligence. We can live by authentically telling African stories. AI ought to amplify, not replace our cultural DNA. We must apply it to ourselves. Then number 2A is AI augmented production. Adopt generative AI workflows now. Scripting, previs, VFX, dubbing, distribution, intelligence, everything also works. Number 3, revenue architecture. Build the theater, build it to streaming, license, IP merchandise pyramids, not one-hit strategies. This things will not work. Right management, own your IP, protect actor likenesses, and AI deepfakes are already a litigation minefield already. You don't want to put yourself in that quagmire. You must think about IP from day one and design your IP. And actors and actresses begin to think about your IP for every single scene that you are going forward. Because if I see 3 or 4 of the movies you acted in, we can produce a whole new movie that you did not act at all, you're not there at all, and your image will be speaking, and a lot can be done. A lot can be done. I can take the genius of your action and slam it on that person's image, and that other actor is sounding like you. Meanwhile, I have signed that other actor, but I did not sign you. How are you going to protect yourself from such kind of theft if you are a creative? Discussion for another. The audience analytics. That's the next one. Use that to understand what your audience wants before you shoot a single frame. The talent ecosystem. We must train AI literate filmmakers now. I can see Lasso, greatest I can see you guys around. Latest greatest of the last one, greatest of the greatest of the greatest of the greatest last one. Right? All right. So talent ecosystem. I think last we should have an AI media center, or any university, an AI media center, because the skill shortage will be the bottleneck, not the technology. We have AI bottleneck. We need to invest in infrastructure. We are thinking of 126 months by the end of 2026. We need 500 plus by 2025. Screens equal market size, and footfalls into the cinemas is a very major thing. How we want to sustain footfalls into the cinemas, and then value chain disruption. Documentary and film fiction must converge. Short film, microdrama, and episodic are unlocked market, and the fusion of the two of them together. And then how do we export? Nollywood has a 300 million person diaspora as today. We need to build global distribution pipelines, not just local hits. That is the narrative framework. The workbook is available. You can take it and use that framework to make more money for yourself in the coming years. All right. So the other one is the futures matrix. Nollywood sovereign on one side, IAI plus high culture equals global powerhouse. You own the story and the technology. That's the zone you want to be in. That's the most profitable zone. The cultural museum is where you have low AI, high culture. You are beautifully going to be relevant. Amazing story, nobody distributes or finances. That's comfortable decline where a lot of people are. Tech colony, IAI plus low culture. There's no storytelling. You're using AI a lot, but those have African norms. You are not outsourced content factory. And the platform owners will try to push us here. Avoid this zone. Obsolescence is where there's low AI, low culture. There will be no future for you. There is no future for you. You want, and that is AI on that axis versus culture and our storytelling on that axis. And that is the green. That is where you want to go. That's the most profitable zone. AI on the x-axis, cultural integrity, and our storytelling on the y-axis. This is where we need to land by 2035. And that is how do we move everybody in all these three quadrants to that place. People right now are here, right? And then this framework is also available in the materials that I have shared. Right? Documentary is the most undervalued asset in Nollywood because number one, this is horizon. Truth travels fast. Like AI generated was associated with synthetic imagery. Documentary is the last bastion of verified truth. That makes it more valuable, not less. Platforms pay premium for provenance. Number two, data is greater than drama. Joel Kachi Benson's Emmy win with Madu proved the documentary can outperform Hollywood fiction globally. iREP 15 years has built intellectual capital that Nollywood fiction hasn't tapped. There needs to be much more energy in that direction because data wins always. And iREP has that data, and we can now use storytelling and our capacity to fuse that and create effect in the future. Number three, AI elevates docs. You see, AI dubbing of documents or dubs, AI dubbing unlocks 5 billion non-English speakers for Nigerian documentaries. Because across different terrain can generate documentation quickly by just changing the narrative, the language. Every documentary Nigerian produces is available for the world audience. 5 billion non-English speakers quickly can tap into it today. Automated metadata on top of that, AI-generated B-roll and AI localization make African stories borderless at very minimal cost. The documentary filmmaker who masters AI storytelling tools in 2026 will become the most globally competitive African maker by 2030. Let me say it again. The documentary filmmaker in Nigeria who masters AI storytelling tools in 2026 will become the most globally competitive African filmmaker by 2030. And that is the hard way to go. And so this is the transformation test, and again is available for you. You can score yourself. You have the AI integration strategy for the next production. Yes is 2, exploring is 1, no is 0. And that's an example like that. Does your team include anyone with AI filmmaking skills? Yes, hiring 1, 2, no. When you run these tests, you can have a score and it will show you where you stand on the journey to transformation. This also help you to begin to think the transformation. The full kit and how to use it and the instruction, because of my time, is in the kits that you will get. And finally, this is the timeline for Nollywood's transformation. Phase 1 is this year and next year. Phase 2, 2028, 2030. Phase 3, 31 to 33, and that is phase 4, sovereignty. Ignition is the beginning place, is the beginning phase, where you must mandate AI literacy in every film school curriculum. We must pass the Nigerian Creative Industries AI Act. We must. And I propose it inside this keynote. And we should try and reach 20 million box office and 150 screens nationwide. Remember, the future belongs to those who build it. And not the algorithms. It will be controlled by African futurists in the movie industry. In phase 2, we must ascend. We must have the first 1 billion AI hybrid Nollywood blockbuster produced, and the challenge is the room. And then the young men and women looking at me. You guys are the ones we are looking up to. There is so much wealth to be made, and we need to embrace and run quickly. Otherwise, we don't want to be colonized from the outside. Nollywood streaming platform launches globally on that year. 500 plus screens and 10 million annual admission. By the way, for the theaters, the cinemas, a quick one. It's a sin and anathema to have a cinema or empty. We need to find technology, wisdom, intelligence to bring crowd into it. But that's not the core of this, so I can't discuss that deeply. But I will make a mental note to do some work, because we need to do some work in that area. They can't have that capacity and it's empty. On phase 3 dominance, Nigeria hosts an African Film Technology Hub. There should be an African Film Technology Hub, and I think iREP in the coming days will actually be a hub of such capacities. Number one, Nollywood IPO export revenue side project, if you follow this model, will be about 500 billion naira. And then documentary sector generates 50 billion annually into the economy. And phase 4 is sovereignty, where Nollywood is the third largest film industry globally. And IP franchises compete with Marvel all over the world, and African stories drive global cultural narrative. This is the timeline I see and my proposal by the energy of the people inside this room. This is what we can achieve. And right, the 5 mandates are: number 1, learn one AI filmmaking tool this year. Learn one. Those are the names you can learn any. Own your own IP from day one. Build your distribution strategy before you shoot. Invest in data literacy and tell stories only Africa can tell. Don't forget these 5 things. They will make the difference in the coming days. These are my sources and these are my references. It's been super amazing being with you today. Thank you, and I will be with you online watching. I've given us 3 tools: narrative framework, value futures matrix, and transformation test for you and your business to begin to think about how to transform the industry. Africa's story is the world's most valuable untold franchise in the world. Africa's story is the world's most valuable untold franchise. We've got stories. And how are we going to do? Are we going to remain like this, or wait again to be colonized? God forbid. Congratulations, iREP. I'm a foresighter and executive coach, and a strategic futurist, and I do AI and automation very, very well. Let's talk. You can hit me at my website, and I have loads of goodies in the tools for you to use. And by the way, I will see you guys at the next episode. I'm totally excited. Thank you so much. You see, the future is something we have to wait for. We must build it deliberately, digitally, and with deep cultural pride. Thank you, and happy anniversary. Thank you for having me, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adeoye. Pastor Dr. Adeoye Abodun is a pastor, he's also a doctor. You see, it's possible to combine all of this. I know the advantage of technology. I've never seen a presentation like this. He recorded himself making the presentation. I have to learn it. It's better. So that when Dr. Shaibu, when you invite me to your place, I'll just send video to you and go to bed. Thank you. And he's online. We have quite a lot of people online, so we'll go straight into the conversation. Who can help me with this seat, please? Yes. Dr. Chaibu, okay. He says he will use this stand. Please help me to welcome Dr. Shaibu Hussaini. He did move it to the center. To the center. He the DG, Director General of the National Film and Video Censors Board. I would like to say that we don't give ourselves enough credit. For those of us who know Nollywood today, at the time when nobody gave Nollywood the chance, there were two people who were writing consistently. I will add the third name. Steve Ayorinde, whom you met yesterday, the former commissioner, and Shaibu Hussaini. They were writing consistently about Nollywood. Even when I was editing his copy and I was condemning Nollywood, but this guy was always saying, no, there's something there to see. And then he started this series of interviews. Over 500 interviews already. It's been curated into a book. So I'm not surprised that he ended up where he is now, in charge of film and video censors. Although I wish Nigerian Film Corporation was joined to it. Because we invited that director. He will never be here, but he'll be in Germany. I hope he doesn't fight you when he say. He will never attend things there, but he's always all over the world. But we all have different agenda. And he's also a teacher. Dr. Shaibu Hussaini is also a first-class graduate of market, first-class graduate of mass communication at the University of Lagos. And now he's teaching there. He has his own students, so many of them there, but they've moved into Abuja. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Sometimes when you see people who have made you and they are calling you Director General and all that now, you just be scared that what's going on. But thank you so much for having me and for the honor of chairing this very fantastic session. And I must thank Dr. Adoye for that very insightful presentation. I think we should give him another round of applause. And like Bonjaman noted, he has done a very, in fact, you will think that that presentation is live. You know, he did a very good job, and that shows that this is the future for presentation. And then, of course, he told us very well in his paper that, look, the future will be AI, because there's so much that AI can do for us. Increase in revenue. It will also bring down cost of production. He gave us example of what is going on in China. It has reduced cost of production. And I also know, I saw a film not too long ago that was made. It will cost him a lot of money. But he now used AI to tell us that backstory. So it reduced a lot in the revenue. But I'm not here to assess the paper that the wonderful doctor has done. Mine is to lead in the trying to find out from him, trying to get him to build on some of the points that he made, because I am indeed interested in what Nollywood will turn out in the next 10 years. So, Doctor, building on your points about, I will lead, and then if you have any question, then we can take off from there. Building on your points, Doctor, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. We can see you. We can see you. Yeah, we can see you. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. So, building on your point about futuristic Nollywood, one area that I think could drive the industry forward is how we can leverage VR and AI for immersive storytelling. So, my question now will be, how can Nollywood balance innovation with preserving our cultural narrative? How can Nollywood balance innovation with preserving our cultural narrative? I will also want to just maybe make it a combo of questions so that you can just talk straight from there. So the very first is, how can Nollywood balance innovation with preserving our cultural narrative? And then what role can collaborations with international partners like you know, play in amplifying our stories globally? So let's start from there.
Okay, number one, I will take the second one before I go to the first one. Okay. Thank you, all protocols observed. Doctor, I'm excited to meet you. And I think the future is bright for Nigerian films, and there's a lot we can do. The truth is, there's opportunity globally. It's a matter for capacity building. The first place to start from is
capacity building. Rome was not built in a day, and Africa too will not be built in a day, but we are the people that built Africa. There's a lot of skill gap, a lot of skill gap. Today we have very, very amazing script writers within the continent, but we don't have AI-enabled script writers who can also script or program the subconscious of society using technology. Now, those kind of innovative frontiers are available to train, and the first place to start is to script the scripters or the conceptualizers. So the first thing we need to do is to script, and to script we need capacity building. And across the frontier, there are a lot of online platforms for training. I'll make some of that available to the participants who want to learn. Whatever you are doing as within the production value chain, there is an AI tool that can make your life easy, at least minimum one. Number two is development. There are many AI technology organizations that I'm in touch with in the UK, in America, and in Latin America, who have solved our problems. So the counsel is, we need to work together, because one of the problems of Nigeria and Africa is that we cannot work together. So we need to work together to create those meaningful links, because export can become a billionaire. And I want every participant who is young in the house to underline that. It doesn't matter what the government is saying or doing. It doesn't matter what anybody is doing. Between your phone and the world, you are ready for an explosion. And that niche will not be forever. And I thank God that Mr. DJ of the Nigerian Films board is here, because Rabu is asking me this question. Our young people have energy. Let's unleash them. I have a model in mind, and I'm working with Mr. Gwemi on that model on how Nigerian universities, for example, I mentioned jokingly, because that was my alma mater, that we need to have an AI media institute or laboratory in every single university in Nigeria and all over Africa for that matter. So the first place is to actually partner with technocrats within the technology space and the media space who are Nigerians and who have context of our culture. That leads me to the first question. Africa has, in my opinion, the most prolific amount of stories, maybe next to Asia, maybe next to Far Asia, Mid-Asia, but we've got stories. Africa has stories. We need to storify, and we need to quickly put our stories into written form. I mean, I always refer to Gio Fagua's Akara Ogun and all the stories around it. I was reading that story recently, and I was still awed at the presentation, the billions. And look, at the end of the day, the world, there is a whole diaspora community who would rather have their children indoctrinate in the stories of Africa for Africans by Africans. So we need to, those are stories, we need to curate them, and as script writers need to move quickly and use AI to amplify those stories, recreate. And for example, the Akara story is not done. We're still celebrating where Baba Faguwa stopped. There are many sub-Akara series. I can see a whole series. I can see whole 5-year dramas amplify what the good professor and teacher of Yoruba language has done. So what's my bigger point? My bigger point is the floor is right, and we need to hit the gas now. And for me, I'm available for partnership, and I'm sure to this because Africa is the only place that I come from. That is home for me. Any other place is secondary. And it's only Africans that build Africa. It is us, or we are going to be colonized again. And still, we are being colonized now. Majority of what is on Netflix, and I dare say, all of them, after I mentioned Netflix alone, Amazon, is mostly foreign stuff in Nigeria. Why would we have more Nigerians watching foreign stuff on those streaming platforms? It's a battle of eyeball, and we need to storify because we own local insights. We know what it means to be a Lagosian. When you say I'm a Lagosian, or I'm from Ibadan, or I'm from Ikwetumo, or I'm an Ijeshaman, there are the moments and the nuances that we can storify, and people back home and in diaspora can pick to those meanings and watch more films. We need to do the battle beyond commercial and use storytelling so that people's hands turn to the stories. Indians do very powerful storytelling. Koreans do very powerful storytelling. Storytelling that keeps you glued to the screen, and they are selling their culture softly. And wherever people bow to your culture, they should start buying your product. Thank you.
All right. Our the audience here. But before I do that, while you were talking about documentary futurism, I was particularly concerned about how we will use, if we adopt the use of AI in documentary films, we can maintain the authenticity of our narratives. So I mean, are you not concerned that we may not, like when you are telling a real life story and you have to use AI to do that, whether it will not affect the authenticity?
It will not. You see, thank you for that question, sir. Technology is a very, very loyal servant, but a very terrible master. It is when you tell technology to do that, it will do. If we give it explicit instructions, it will do just that. Like I said, the script writer, I call them the scriptors. They sculpt the conscious and the subconscious and the spirit that the movie or the documentary will carry across. They are the ones that need to be aware of the game. And we need script writers who understand, documentary script writers and commercializers, and I dare say producers, who understand where you want the documentary to land in the mind of the consumer. And I use the word consumer, not the person watching the movie. That means that the person will take the product and use it in a certain way. AI helps you to deliver that place very fast. If you are not clear about where you want to land in the mind of the consumer, then there will be very significant problems. But once you are also skilled in the use of AI, that's why it's not just AI. It is AI that augments the creativity of the scriptwriter. It will amplify the error or the strength of the conceptualizer of the documentary. What we are saying right now is that you can produce faster and script faster. But there's one thing though, there's no deep fakes. There's no deep fakes now. Something that didn't happen, a whole movie can be done, and a whole series of events that never happened. Just your picture, somebody can do anything with you online. That's a use case for deep fake detection. We need to vast ourselves and develop AI tools that can help us to detect that this is a deep fake and this is not real. And that also needs to be prolific on the internet. So the AI will be the police of AI. At the end of the day, AI will be the police of AI. We cannot police AI with human intelligence. It's going to be AI versus AI because AI is very strong. Any attempt to use human intelligence to police AI will lead to massive failure. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. You heard him. He said anyone who wants to use human ability to police AI, that person will need more power to do that, really. But AI will police AI. I was going to ask him another question, but from his presentation, you find out that he has been emphasizing on capacity building, and capacity building. When animation became the order of the day, a lot of us jumped into it without learning the tricks of animation. There's a particular animation that I've been forcing my children to watch. And that animation is so good because it teaches you about the culture of our people and the rest of them. But my children will watch only when I'm there. As soon as I just stand up to go somewhere else, they will just switch to walking like this. In the documentary, that the cars, we must build a lot of capacity. So anyone with any question for him or any intervention, he mentioned it's a women's month this month. So let's start with the lady first. If you're a woman and a mother here, please a round of applause for yourself. So let's start with the lady first.
I like that he mentioned that AI is a very good servant, and it could be a terrible master. What I want to bring out from there, I don't know if I introduced myself. My name is Dorcas Ajay. What I want to bring out from there is that what is the future of Nollywood with the way we keep going with AI? Is it possible that a time will come where physical actors will not be needed again? And if not, how valuable are physical actors that they can never be replaced with AI? So I want that balance there. Thank you.
Okay. Did you get that, Doctor? Is it still online?
Very
Okay, fantastic. So we'll take a couple of questions and then you can respond to them. Okay? All right, so that's one. Please pass the mic to the prof.
Good afternoon.
No, maybe it's not on.
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hear me? We basically spoke a lot on generative AI in the sense that for AI can reach your things for you. And I think that no, it's a long. Okay, personally, I don't see that as the best way to use it. AI, if you see it like that, it's like AI is doing your work for you. And he already mentioned AI as a tool, AI as part of your team. Then talking about AI as generating your films for you, making AI films, that's like contradictory. That's not how AI works. And from what I see online nowadays, people don't, it doesn't look good. It doesn't, like what you said about the kind of caricature cartoon. That's how AI, generative AI, what's the word, films work. And I think the whole point of empowering people with AI should be how to use it properly as an assistant. AI is very, very good. I cannot say we can't use AI. I'm just saying that you should teach them the right way. You shouldn't like say, oh, make generative films. AI can help you with some use of AI. And we need to know that. That's basically my point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think Dr. Ajay will just reinforce what he had said earlier about using the tool, training, and so on. He will just, we can take after here. All right. Okay, let me. Okay, him. Okay, sorry. We are in a democracy.
One thing you haven't brought up, I wanted to mention was, what about the environmental concerns when using generative AI consistently? Because as we are now, with the amount we're using, not even to look at the way that most AI companies are hemorrhaging money at the moment, like they're consistently bleeding out money. I think OpenAI lost about 14 billion last year alone. They're operating on a loss consistently. But speaking about specifically the environmental concerns, how are we going to address that? Because it's become a thing where there's a phrase people who constantly use AI now are saying, hey, let's burn the river when they're about to generate something. Let's burn the river. And it's a very funny thing when you look at it, like, oh yeah, it's just. But in reality, this is a very real concern. This is a consistent environmental thing that's going to keep happening if we're going to keep using AI. And this planet is we're going to have to still be here. Like after the people who have like used AI and championed it have gone, we're still going to have to live here. Like I'm sure most of us plan to live till at least 50. That's 40 more years of being on this planet and having to deal with all the things we're leaving behind now. So that's my main question.
All right, over to you, sir.
Sir, the echo has gotten so bad. For the last two speakers, I didn't hear their questions. I only
okay. The last speaker was concerned about the environmental impact of the use of AI, and then he expressed a lot of concern about AI and the environment. We're not talking so much about the impact of AI on our environment. The second speaker was talking more about using, please, can you just step forward and repeat? He didn't get you. Come, use this my microphone. He will hear. And just make it brief.
Okay, so I asked about generative films, like AI generated films, like how the social implication and the proper use of AI in filmmaking in terms of as an assistant and not as the sole creator. Did you hear me?
Yes.
So did you get that, sir?
That's what I did. That's why I said AI is a very brilliant assistant, but a very terrible master. We should enslave it quickly. And how do you enslave something? Get capacity. Build capacity, and capacity is a game of money and mind. We need to apply money and mind quickly in an organized fashion. We can't play ostrich with it. And the beautiful thing is that the whole world is just starting this trend. What we did with GSM is very brilliant. Let's leapfrog quickly. Because AI will happen. And the lady who said about actors, acting and actors will not go out of vogue. The problem is if actors now do not quickly work on how they will maintain intellectual property and invest in AI tools that help you to scan platforms and see when you are being plagiarized. And everybody should have their own AI kits. You see, the game of the future is you multiplied by your AI tools, or you plus your AI tools, or you raise the power of your AI tools. Now, those three equations are different. How quickly will you have your proliferation? How quickly will you scale? On how many platforms? If you are one set, is that the end of you? You can't be on my own set. That limitation is going dead in about 2-3 years from now. Where you can be on one set and you're going to license somebody to use your AI on the other set. But you must have the tools to know if a platform begins to stream you today. You will have to invest as an actor at a time is planning and writing the code. If you have a Nigerian who can write the code quickly for us in the room today, we are on any platform and is unauthorized to flag it quickly, and like a command control center will pick it up. This solution will happen because there are some real concerns, but they won't last forever. Look, in 24 months, they will catch that problem of intellectual property, but you have to subscribe the $20 or £20 or $200 for you to be an actor that will be monitoring your image use for you. Now, acting, augmented reality, virtual reality, and theater, we move into another level of entertainment. 3D and 4D entertainment in the theater will be a big deal from an experience standpoint. Multi-sector thinking will go into the media production element. So we're going to go from 2D and 3D to elements like 5D. 5D means your sense of taste and your sense of touch will be in the game, not just sight, not just audiovisual and feelings alone. Your sense of taste and your sense of smell will be engaged actively. That's 5D entertainment, because theater will get to that point. And the time is coming, I predict about 7 years from now, where the TVs at home will have ability to give you things that will happen. So acting will not go away. In fact, it's an opportunity for the most talented actors to now shine. They can be on several movie sets at one set. But if you're not a talented actor, you probably will look for jobs. What will happen is that only the most talented ones and the people that build brands later. You must be talent with capacity on the ground, and you will have to invest seriously in your craft and think your personal IP and IP lawyers. Those are the kind of things that will happen in the coming future. Between now and some of these predictions will take some years, but they're going to happen in Africa. We can't play ostrich because business considerations will force people to want to produce more with AI. And the people that consume on the platforms are the elite. Don't forget, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt crowd. Average revenue per user for consumption of top-notch entertainment, the numbers are bigger at the urban centers. About the environment, I need to understand what's in by the environment. But at the end of the day, there are regulatory bodies, and there's a way, and thank you for bringing it up, we need to put models in place that will ensure that our environment and that our people don't lose jobs, so that foreigners don't colonize us. Those are the things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we have one more or two, and then we will round up. So we take a question from here.
About the analysis I saw on the graph there, you find that in 2023, you had 7 billion naira, and then in 2026, you have 20 billion naira, whatever, and there appears to be a growth, but actually there was no growth. Because when you consider the value of naira as at 2023, you have about 400. So if you break it down, that's about 20 billion divided by 3. That gives you around that 7 billion. So there was no growth actually. I'm just using that as a pointer to how we tend to analyze these things, assuming that there was a growth when there was no growth actually.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. He just pointed out the fact that there isn't much growth if you compare the exchange rate as at the time, as at 2026 or so, and the exchange rate as we're talking now. And then there's some, very few. Now we have grown beyond 133 screens. We have about 361 screens and 400 cinema locations in the country. Some have been added. And it's really only because we are supposed to have grown up to about 1,000 screens in this country for people to make reasonable money from the cinemas. So the number of screens have increased. There are about 361 screens now and about 442 cinema locations or thereabouts. So if we don't have any other question, maybe I don't know whether you want to react to you presented, sir.
I deal with foreign currency, but I don't like the conversation around dollarization. Why are we dollarizing everything? It's sad that we are dollarizing in Africa, so we can't trade with Ghana. We need to stop colonizing ourselves and remove the dollar comparisons in our economy. There comes a time when it becomes counterproductive, and it's a design and an entrapment of the mind. Anyway, we will have to export our business more, that's the meaning, so that we can actually correct that deficit. But thank you for that understanding. But I think it's growth that we need to celebrate, and I think for the first time we are having good billions in naira in movie and film industry. I will forever clap. I know what it takes for you to get from the street where you hold your cameras to the place where today we're now recording the billions. Our producers have done well. I don't care the necessary. Look, the naira is not bad like some other currencies where it takes 1 billion to buy bread. I am excited at that change. Forgive me for being very forceful on that, but I'm excited that we have that level of success. We need there's more opportunity for growth. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. We should give him a very loud applause so that he can hear it from there. And I think we can have his the last page of his slide where he has his website and those details so that we can connect with him. He is open to a lot of partnership, and I think we can exploit that position. I am personally going to invite him to be part of a workshop that we are going to have in November during our the digital conference. So I don't know. I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for curating this very impactful discussion. We only just hope that whatever that we have heard from here will be used to shape the future of Nigerian cinema. And to my audience, I want to thank you so much. You've been a wonderful one. Thank you so much, and God bless.
I think Dr. Shaibu Seni deserves a bigger round of applause. He wants to bribe me that I don't know how to chop bribe. You can bribe me as much as you want. If I let me put you on the spot, Dr. Husseini, your book on Nollywood, the interviews, which I read 5 years ago, you went and gave it to one professor to edit, and the book is not out. Yeah, let me expose you now. This man has interviewed over 500 people. Yeah, there's nobody who is in Nollywood every week for. Should I expose you for that? That's what he's been saying for 5 years, even before he ended his PhD. I think that book is very important now. You know, book is out. They can buy on Kindles or so, and then they can read. God, much of the story of Nollywood is in those interviews. How they started. I think Francis Onwoche was the first interview you ever did. Liz Benson, even some of them who have left, you see, Eddie Jenazu, who have left they all interviewed. Published every Saturday at The Guardian. Some of them are still online. Well, thank you very much. You are my witness, so the book will be out next week. 2023 is almost gone, though. Thank you. The next session, I will advise us not to miss. Joel Benson. How many of us saw Madu? You know, Kachi Benson is look, they follow me, they followed me from was a poster boy for documentary, because I think the Madu is the first documentary we have to win a major international award, Emmy. He won the Emmy, and that's why we're very happy. Thank you very much for the appreciation, because it was a story he discovered just on the way. I mean, he didn't really plan it for the 5 seconds.